Alright, so in this video we're going to go through the ratio. And this is the second parameter for the compressor that we're working with, and it has a direct relationship with the threshold. So think of the threshold as when the compressor turns on, and for the ratio, think of how much it compresses once that threshold is crossed. Okay? So let's get in and have a listen to it again. So working on this kick drum still, we could hear that we were doing a good job by bringing the threshold, but it wasn't perfect. Now my ratio is 2 to 1. So that means every 2 decibels over this threshold, I'm only letting 1 through. So that's considered a soft or a good start in terms of ratio as a ballpark for you, but it's still quite heavy. Think that's turning the sound down by 50%. Think of 4 as medium or like a good hearty ratio for compression, and think of 6 or 10 as that's a lot of compression. That's really hard. So if we go up to 4 and leave this threshold here, we should start to hear that again, that the threshold that the compressor is working harder and the sound is becoming even more consistent. Just to make it obvious, actually, let's use 6, specifically because this is a sample that I made, actually, so it's quite exaggerated. You probably wouldn't come across this in a real world situation, and if you do, probably be inclined to maybe make some edits because there is just a bit too much difference there for the compressor to really work as they normally do. So, but in this situation, we've got our threshold down, we've turned, which is when it turns on, and we've turned the ratio up, and so we're telling it to, for every 6 decibels over the threshold, only let 1 through. So how much? So it's really working hard. And again, let's just hear the difference between 6 and 2. Now it's becoming hard to compare. That's because the compressor is turning the volume down so much. But you can definitely hear it getting turned down and becoming more consistent. But for us to truly understand or hear what how we're shaping this signal, we need to go back to our concept of unity gain. And remember, that means every decibel that goes into the device, 1 decibel comes out. So it's the same, 1 in and 1 out. Okay, so to do that, we actually need to go into our output gain, and this is where all our skills from last week come in handy. Look at our drum rack or our drum when it's off, and it's peaking at -3.5. Now when it's on, it's peaking at -12.7. So that's about 9 decibels of difference. You can do that just by subtracting them. So if I increase the output up by 9 decibels, okay, output, and that's exactly the same as if I just got a utility and put that up by 9, okay. These are inside the compressor. Then I should be able to hear a bit better how I'm actually compressing. So let's have a listen now. And now I'm actually hearing the compressor work. I'm hearing what I'm doing. And you can hear it's more consistent. And you can even see it. The RMS is at -12 and then -24 when it's quiet. But then when it's on, much more consistent between 18 and 24. So that's the compressor doing its job. That's the ratio. How heavy, how much do you want to compress over that threshold? And then this is that unity gain concept, which is so important. You have to do it when you're compressing to hear what you're actually doing.